Welcome to Queer Next, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode. Happy Friday.
Woohoo! How's your day been?
Not bad. It is cold here again and had some meetings. I meet with some of my students one-on-ones on Fridays. You know, I'm allowed to work 20 hours a week. That's how many meetings I have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just, student affairs is just meetings and meetings hell.
It was cold as hell here today, like in the 20s.
Yeah, it's 12 degrees here, and then the wind chill is like negative 10.
Ugh.
Because the wind is 20.
It was like 63 degrees here the other day. It was wonderful.
Right, like for the majority of this week. Was it this week or last week? Not long ago. It was several days of like 50 degrees. It was glorious. Yeah. All the snow melted, and now it's all back. Oh, well. How was your Friday?
Pretty good. We went to Bob Evans for breakfast. She had to work the overnight, so she slept in, and so we went to a late lunch. That was nice.
Yeah, it's cheat day, so I have had 2 donuts today, and I'm high as a kite on sugar.
Yeah.
I found something hysterical that I want to play for you. You remember we were talking about the Lee Bryce and his song about his to-do list?
Right.
Somebody has done something hysterical to it, and it's like it's a win for editing, like the wonders of editing and how like omitting certain words can make something sound worse. So I just want to play this for you.
I just want to my fish, my truck, my beer. I just want to my grass, my dog, my boots.
Jimmy Kimmel every week has This Week in Unnecessary Censorship, and they'll play like that, and they'll beep it out. That's funny.
It just tore me up when I found it. That's some of my favorite kind of humor. There was one video that I found of that show, The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
You know, it's whatever. It's very mid, but they use a live audience because it's just a classic sitcom setup. And the audiences for those are cued on when to laugh, but sometimes they're also allowed to laugh naturally. But somebody took out the sound of the live audience reacting to the jokes and just edited in the sound of Ricky Gervais laughing, just him laughing. And he has a very, he cackles, and so they would do their kind of dumb jokes, and then that was it. That was the only sound. I was like, whoever did this?
People are so funny.
They are. I just love the things people get up to just for the hell of it. And the internet, that is the internet in its purest form. And that's how I remember the internet from back when, 20 years ago. That doesn't mean that it was a purer place, because I'd say people got away with worse things. But the surface level net, which is where most of us hung out all the time, I just remember that being what we used it for. Before social media, right around the Web 2.0 era. Would you call what we're in now Web 3.0? I'm curious.
It's definitely a step up. I think we're in the third wave of queer activism.
Okay. Do we do that? Are there waves of queer activism? I guess there would be.
I think so. Yeah. I've never heard it, I've never seen it written down somewhere, but the first wave would be the Stonewall era, those kind of movements. And then the AIDS movement would be the second one, and then the third one would be where we're at now.
Right. Yeah, and I've been thinking just from a media perspective, studying media, the way people express themselves, it's kind of changing, especially in the context of, say, the Olympics. The way we've been filming and streaming them has changed. I think about you actually whenever I watch the figure skating, because of your misophonia with the sound of dry ice, like ice scraping, because they have mic'd the ice, the sound of their. So every time I see it now, I'm like, oh God, I bet Beck hates that.
I listen to it. I watch it with the volume down for that reason.
Because even for me, I'm like, oh, I kind of see her point.
It's terrible. It gives me goosebumps.
but the way the kids are interacting with media and being themselves a bit more is really refreshing, especially like, and the women finished up their stuff last night. So have you seen the results of that and everything? I don't want to spoil
Yeah.
any listeners if you haven't. We're about to discuss who got what medal, so skip 30 seconds ahead if you haven't seen it yet. But it's so interesting with the three Americans in particular because of the way they are on camera. Like they're cussing and stuff on camera. And, you know, the one who is like representing her queer identity is very important to her. She keeps bringing that up in interviews and stuff. But this one girl who won the gold, Alyssa, she retired a champion, I think, when she was 16 and then like just got bored and decided to become a gold medalist. And I'm just like, that is not how this worked. What is possible now that we are sort of loosening the reins a little bit on young people?
What about the 40-something-year-old Olympian skater?
Hell yeah. There was a 50-something-year-old curler.
I can see that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if my back would do it.
Yeah, you have to get folded up pretty tightly there to serve it.
Yeah, they've got like, you know, some dump truck muscles probably.
Wenda's feeling frisky, so if you hear her in the background, she'll sleep and sleep and sleep, and then she'll decide she wants to play. And so she'll just start like throwing a little temper tantrum, but in a cute way, like not angry. She just barks at you a little bit. It's like, hey, pay attention to me.
So we are not yet in Web 3.0. Technically, we are in Web 2.0. Interesting.
Where was dividing line?
Well, Web 1.0 is like, people might call it like the static web. It was very like not interactive. So people had email, but like websites, when it came to surfing, there was very like way less capable infrastructure. This is before like Alta Vista and Yahoo and Ask Jeeves and them kind of had to know the website, and they weren't interactive. So Web 2.0 was internet relay chat, like dungeons, multi-user chat rooms and stuff like that, and comment sections on websites, GeoCities and stuff. Like Web 2.0 was kind of like, it became more democratized, more accessible to people who weren't like whizzes at HTML and stuff like that.
Like what AOL opened up for people.
Yeah. So I wondered, like I guess my question was, is there some other type of paradigm shift that we consider to be Web 3.0? And there is, we just haven't reached it yet. And I don't know that we will, because now we're kind of relinquishing control of the internet to techno oligarchs and AI.
The AI is getting overwhelming, and we are just at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to stave off the crying, so I got a treat out.
Oh.
That'll work.
You have to give her like gummy treats because she don't have no teeth.
No, I just break them into small, tiny little pieces. She gums it and swallows it. She can take pretty big bites. She would be surprised. She got Shanna sausage from Bob Evans today. She loved that. I listened to the weirdest book this week. I don't even know how I came upon it, but I was going through audiobooks, and for whatever reason, I clicked on that one, and it was called Burnt Ends. And it was a murder mystery, basically, set around a Kansas City barbecue joint. And so in the end, so if readers, if you don't, our listeners, if you don't want to hear the twist at the end of this particular book, skip ahead like you did earlier. So in the end, it turns out to be her cousin, who his girlfriend. So it's like his girlfriend is a vegan, and he's trying to turn her a vegan. It's a whole meat empire, right? And so the vegan is drugging the cousin with PCP, and he had an obsession with Mickey Mouse, and so he like turned into evil Mickey. And when he turned into evil Mickey, he killed his father by putting a tick, one of those Lone Star ticks that have the alpha guy allergies, the meat allergy that you get once you get a tick bite. I don't know if you've heard of that before. And so then he got a meat, because it was a meat empire, and his meat allergy, he died from eating his own meat, and it was the twist.
Jesus.
And the whole time the narrator is on Oxycontin. And The author has clearly never done any drugs in her life the way that she described them. Like she's like, well, I took 3 more. Girl, if you took 3 Oxycontins, you'd be so flat on your ass, right? And in the apex of the story, the killer is trying to kill our narrator, and she injects her with heroin, and she's only been on drugs again for a week, and she says that she's been on so much oxy that her tolerance was up, and that they couldn't kill her because of that because she'd been on them for a week. Like it was. I had to finish it once I started it, but it was a very odd book.
I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Private Investigator, Tori Swenson. Weird. There's a that show. Oh, the Natasha Lyonne one, Poker Face, has a barbecue episode that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah, I loved it. There's I was realizing today, like every so often, I think I like come out of whatever funk that we're all in because it's February and also the world's on fire. And I'll like remember, oh yeah, I was in the middle of a bunch of different series that I was watching and didn't finish. And so I had that. I remembered that last night with Welcome to Derry. I never finished that.
I want to
And
finish Wheel of Time.
is that a TV show?
Oh yeah,
I had no idea they made a Robert
I watched the
Jordan.
first season. It was beautiful.
Wow. That's Rosamund Pike. Wow. I had no idea. Ooh, Alvaro Morte. It's on Prime. I think I always forget that Prime exists. And I just remain, if I'm forever out of the loop on whatever they're making.
That's how I feel about Apple TV.
I've watched exactly one thing on Apple TV, and it was Ted Lasso,
Yeah,
which I really liked. And I think there's actually 4 seasons now of Ted Lasso. So I never even finished the second season. Men, like cis straight men, really love that show. And that is interesting to me because the whole point of that show is to make a comedy that isn't cruel to anybody necessarily, that explores real human relationships and reactions to things, but also, it isn't like misogynistic or transphobic or, like all of the lazy stuff. It doesn't do that. And it started just kind of as a joke. I think it was a Super Bowl ad or something several years ago, based on this idea of a thing that actually did happen, which is like a dude, this American football coach went to coach a soccer team in London, and I think wrote some essays about it, but then it got picked up. I highly recommend it. It's so interesting, and it's very much about masculinity, like what non-toxic masculinity could look like in what is arguably the most toxic masculine culture in British sports. I mean, fucking soccer in Britain, they have literal gangs that travel from city to city with with these teams and war with each other, and like they kill each other and stuff. They call them firms.
that's crazy.
It is crazy. So I put a few things on the wheel of what have you,
Oh yeah,
and we haven't done that in a while because I just haven't had time to refill it. So
right.
I'll give it a spin and see. Okay, I put it, so we landed on redneck gifts or unhinged gifts.
The first thing that popped into my mind, my dad always made fun of Shanna for being from West Virginia because we were from Ohio and there's that
Right.
rivalry. But for Christmas, one of the things they bought her one year was a towel that was half brown, half white, and one side was for your ass and one side was for your face. He was an asshole sometimes.
Yeah,
When I went away to grad school, my cousins gave me moonshine.
that sounds like kind of normal.
You ended up with one of those.
I did. Yeah, I remember it. Some years, like I don't really know the full like economic scope of what determined this, but there were some years where we would have kind of like restrained small amounts of gifts or something, and then some years they would be like big gifts. Like one year I got a guitar for Christmas, and another year I remember I think that maybe they couldn't afford very nice things, and so mom would go for like quantity over quality. And she still does this to this day, and it's actually it drives us crazy. So she just went to the dollar store, and back then, like, you could get multiple things for $1, and she would just come out with a cart full of utter garbage. These were not good toys. And then individually wrap them so that it looked like there was just a mountain of toys under the Christmas tree. And opening those was like every year, like I'd be tired of opening them by the time we were done. And I'm like, these aren't any, what do you want us to do with these? This is a 10-cent. Do you remember like the water pistols that you actually filled them with water and they leaked real bad and never held the water? It's like 10 of those. Gee, thanks, Mom.
3 squirts and they break.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of shit like that. I'm like, I know this is about you. This is about you feeling bad for not being able to buy us nice stuff.
Yeah.
Like all of my favorite toys and all of like my favorite things that people gave me was secondhand weird stuff.
I can remember some of my favorites. Like they got me a Phantom of the Opera CD set. It came with a really cool book and everything. I listened to the hell out of that.
Yeah.
What was it with the Phantom of the Opera in the 90s? Everybody was obsessed with it.
Everybody was obsessed with Andrew Lloyd Webber. Like, just he could do no wrong. I used to sing a Phantom piece for a competition.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I used to do Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again.
That's awesome.
Because I was a soprano 1 and it has a G in it and I could hit it. So I always knew I would win if I did that song.
So that's awesome. I've never been able to sing, but I was in a show choir. So there's that. I just didn't sing loud.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, my Geo was actually a gift from my dad, the Metro, and it was garbage as soon like by the time he was done with it, it was trash. And that's so I don't know. What would you say like your favorite gift you ever got was?
Oh wow. Probably my car, the Malibu that my dad bought me. It meant a lot, and it only had 800 miles on it when he gave it to me. He bought it totaled, rebuilt it. Some old man had pulled out into traffic basically 5 minutes after buying it and crashed it.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, but it was mine after that, and I drove it till it had 200,000 miles on it. So I got my money's worth out of that one. He was just so proud of it. He gave it to me because when I graduated with my associate's degree, I was asked to speak at the graduation, like in front of like 1,300 people. It was wild, and he was so proud. That was my gift. He told me that as long as I was in school, he would keep me in a car, and he never knew I was going to make a profession out of it.
You found a loophole.
The last time I saw him, he was helping me get my car fixed. I went home. I drove down to Scioto County to his mechanic. He had a friend that was a really good mechanic, and he would work real cheap.
Oh, I remember one year for Christmas, my Uncle Steve, this is my dad's brother. We just never really have known him very well. He's very separate I don't think you can there's no moderation with a relationship with my grandmother. She's like controlling. And so he just kind of noped out, and I don't blame him. And to my knowledge, he doesn't have kids. He's not married. Don't know anything about the dude, but he's always very sweet to us. And we saw him literally twice a year at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And one year, I don't know why, he randomly bought all 3 of us a pair of snakeskin cowboy boots. Real snakeskin to growing children. Like, these are great for the 6 months I fit into them.
That is wild.
It was so weird. He is a strange dude. He's still alive, but I just don't see him that much. But I think he very much just like still left. He lived his life however he fucking felt like it. And he went into truck driving, and so he always had disposable income. I remember one year he had some sort of video game. It could have been an Atari or something like that, but I think it was like proprietary. Like, this system only did this one thing, and it was a flight simulator that you hooked up to your TV. And grandmother and Papa had a big TV down in the basement, and so he brought that, I remember, to whatever holiday it was and plugged it up, and we just flew planes for the whole time down there in the basement.
Oh, that's fun.
It was so cool. Like, and I wish I was old enough to remember it more clearly, but because we were pretty little. And so it was, I just remember this is a very magical experience in my memory, even though it was probably fairly normal. But this would have been, the late 80s. So whatever it was probably very expensive and ahead of its time. But then now thinking back on it, it's like he had that because he wanted to play it because it wasn't a gift. He just brought
Right?
it so we could play with it.
That's fun though. I didn't have any cool uncles like that. My Uncle Glenn would beat your ass, and everybody thought it was hilarious. Like if it was your birthday, he would get you down. And instead of tickling you, he would like hurt you.
Yeah.
Like I hated it.
Yeah, the birthday whippings, what even was that? And listeners, where you grew up, do people do this? Especially if you're not, I assume if you grew up in Appalachia and you're anywhere near our age, you're familiar with the birthday whoopings. But like, is this something in other places? You just resurfaced memories for me of that. What the fuck? Why would you do that? Oh, it's your birthday. Come here, let me beat you. And one
Yeah.
to grow on.
Yeah.
I don't remember that happening to me very often. It wasn't something that my parents did, but there was always a fucking uncle or papa or somebody that was ready to do it.
Yeah, that was my Uncle Glenn. He didn't have any kids of his own, so he spoiled all the nieces and nephews, and he'd like to play with us. But man, was he rough. Shoo!
That's no fun. I think because I've had those like older men in our lives too, and even if it's nothing pervy or something, it's still like you just like hurting us. You like hurting children. You know this hurts.
Yeah.
The tickling that's actually just like fucking punching me or slapping me.
Yeah.
Like, can't convince me you think that this is actually how tickling works. And matter of fact, stop tickling me because that's not pleasant either.
Yeah, you don't have the words for that when you're little.
No. Man, the differences between how we were raised and how I think probably a large number of Gen Alpha is being raised is so wild to me. Like the language that they're being given to talk about themselves and their autonomy and their needs and wants. It's so cool.
I'm a faculty sponsor of a kid's, she's not a kid, of a student's honors project for this semester. And she is creating a pamphlet that is basically sex ed for kindergartners, talking about autonomy and agency and consent and understanding your body parts. Like nobody is saying, here's a vagina, here's a penis, put them together and make a baby, right? That's not what you teach kindergartners. But you do tell them about their bodies because say Papa is touching their cookie and they tell you that and you don't know by what they mean by cookie, there's just so much power in knowledge and information for kids. And so that's the project that we're doing right now.
There's a friend of mine here wrote a book, The Birds, the Bees, and the Elephant in the Room, talking to your kids about sex and other sensitive topics. Just came out, I think, last year, year before. That is, fairly revolutionary. Oh, her bio is so funny. Known as Shug to her nearly 1 million TikTok followers. I'll send you the link to that for your student.
Yes, please do. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've got one dog wedged behind me between me and the back of the couch. I've got one sitting here crying for no reason. Oh, I miss having a cat so much. I need to play with a cat.
I'll send you this one. You could volunteer at the shelter.
Oh, no, I could not.
You'd come home with one in each pocket.
For real, I'd come home with like 5 of them.
It's tough.
I got my first cat at the shelter, and it was so hard because I wanted to bring home the whole litter.
I was thinking about my first cat. I think it was this morning. How old were you when you got yours?
Oh, well, we had a cat growing up, but I wasn't in charge of it or anything. And his name was Pedro the Devil Cat.
Yeah.
But on my own, it was after I dropped out of college the first time. So I had to have been 20-ish. And I was with my first girlfriend and we went and we had our apartment together and we went and got a cat.
I remember being obsessed with cats for as long as I have been able to like think on my own. I've been obsessed with cats and I begged and begged. And, Mom had very good reasons for saying no. We lived in a pretty small trailer in a trailer park. There was 5 of us in this little trailer, and it was like literally one of those trailer parks where every other trailer was 10 feet away. So there was no yard. It
Right.
was right on in the middle of a bunch of streets. And then, she was like, who's going to take care of it? It's going to need care. And I begged and begged and begged. He's trying to lay on the microphone. Give me that. And then one day, I think I was about 8. I guess they decided to let me try it out, and we went around to various vet offices because there wasn't like shelters or anything in Jellicoe. And so we just drove around to vets offices, and I remember being like, do you have any cats? And we went to Corbin, and there was a vet's office there, and we went in, and maybe mom had called them or something. I don't know. But I just remember we went in, and I was like, do you have any cats that need a home? And they handed across the counter, and I was like barely tall enough, or not even. I remember having to look up at the counter, and they like reached this cat over top of it to me, and it was a kitten, but like up to the larger, the stage where it plays a lot, and it's very fluffy, solid black, like bright green eyes. I just like, this memory is seared into my brain of watching this beautiful cat just sort of float down to me over the counter of this vet's office. And she stayed with us for a while. We didn't know that you're supposed to get them spayed. And she got kind of bored, and she wanted to go out and get pregnant. And so we just didn't really understand her behavior needs at the time. So she went to live at Papa's house, at Granny and Papa's house, up on they lived up in Woodbine Holler, and it was like quite a ways away from a road that had traffic on it. So she had a pretty good life after that. And we didn't have cats again until we moved up to the mountainside that we lived on. And then we had like 30 of them at a time. We kept a colony of cats.
Wow.
There was so much vermin on the side of the mountain that he's like playing with the mouse with the trackpad.
I heard him purring a second ago.
Yeah, he's right up on this. But there was all of the regular wildlife on the mountainside, but then there was all of the snakes and the pests and stuff wanted to come down to the house. I remember there was this one cat, this mother cat. She must have had 5 or 6 litters they were carbon copies, the exact same number every time. All of them had the same patterns as the previous one. We named them the same thing every time she would have them. We named them after ice cream. Well, we named them Cream and Sherbet. But so she was responsible for a large part of the population. But there was so much for them to eat up there. We just kept them. And they would fight with the possums and things. So the possums would get the babies sometimes. So there was kind of a control on it. It didn't get too out of control, but we had quite a few there for a time. But if we didn't have them, I'd hate to think how many mice we would have in the house.
Yeah, we couldn't have cats up on the hill in the holler because my dad always kept dogs, and it was their job to keep the hill clear of all the vermin and stuff like that. So had there been a cat, it would have been made at lunch,
Right.
in a short order. We did have a lot of wild bunny rabbits, though.
Oh,
I can only imagine how many bunny rabbits that baby ate.
I guess they could get it, or they were just the way that they proliferate. She couldn't keep
Yeah.
up.
I only saw snakes up there a couple of times, but the last time I saw it, I swore I would never. I was so glad I was selling that place. You had to come up the driveway and then make a left at the top of the driveway and drive out a little ways and then park in the little parking lot area in front of my mom's. And there was a hill there that went up beside the driveway. And I was driving through there one day, and a snake shot out from this little hillside across the driveway and went down towards the creek and like shot out like a gun. It was like wild. I swore I would never walk down that driveway again. Hell no. I do not like snakes. One time, I might have told the story before, but my dad used to keep the grass really short. They had a pull out back and a wraparound porch and stuff. And I was walking around the side of the trailer one day, and I looked down, and there was like a garter snake or something very small. It wasn't a big snake. And I didn't even freak out, but I came in and told my dad there was a snake, and he came out with his gun and he shot it 3 times.
Did he hit it?
Yeah,
Wow.
he got up close.
Oh no, like point blank.
Yeah.
That is so much more metal than what I was picturing. Damn.
He made short work of that. He said one time he was down in his garage because the garage was between was down the hill at the bottom of the driveway, and there's a creek down there, and so of course there were snakes and stuff like that, right? And he said one time he had one that was about as big around as his arm. He said climb up the wall of his garage. I wouldn't step foot back in there. I wouldn't do it. Hell no.
I saw a woman on TikTok who I did not explore further. It just came across my FYP, but like her stated goal was to demystify and destigmatize brown recluses.
Ah,
Yeah. And so like she just starts out the video and she's got some sort of stick in her hand and garage behind her is open. She goes, well, it's been warm lately, so I'm gonna go in here and see if any of my brown recluses have molted. And I was like, well, I'm gonna stick with you, but I don't know why. Like later when I regret this, I'm gonna ask myself why I did this. And she did. She knew a lot about them. She went in there and she's like, so yeah, they've been molting. So there's a really big one running around here somewhere because these are all the times it's molted.
oh my God.
Here's how you can tell if you have an infestation, because they do infest. And I have had a brown recluse infestation before. For years, it followed me to along two moves, because one, an infestation of anything does. And people will call you a liar. They'll call you stupid. Like, say you don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, you're just freaking out. You think every brown spider you see is a recluse. No, you don't know where I'm from, because this was the Midwest. And they're like, oh, you're just in Carbondale. They're like, oh, you're just a city kid. I'm fucking from Appalachia. I have slept with every critter there is. I know what a brown recluse looks like. And so I had to catch one and take it to the apartment that got infested. I had to catch one and take it to them so they could then call the exterminator. And they were like, yeah, that's brown recluse. Where'd you get this one? I was like, I caught it. It was like in its little hammock next to my sink, just chilling there, just fucking chilling. And he was like, wow, they don't usually get that ballsy, right? Like it's like the sign of an infestation is that they get kind of brave. And I was like, yeah, and they're everywhere. Like they're in my dishes and stuff. It's a miracle that I haven't seen one in a really long time, because I just kind of got used to living with them. But still, like, she was like cultivating this infestation. I think there's something wrong with this lady. And that's why I was like, I'm not going to investigate further and figure out what's wrong with you here, because this ain't right. You do not do this. This is, first of all, you clearly have neighbors and you're over here feeding an infestation, collecting the molts, going, oh, look how big this one's got. No, we don't do that. I mean, they're not as dangerous as a lot of us may feel like they are, or have been made to feel like they are, based on some really extreme examples of things that have happened to people. But still, an infestation of anything when you live in a community with other people is a bad idea. And if they bite a baby, that is dangerous.
Yeah. My spider story was the week of high school graduation. In my sleep, something bit me right in the corner.
Yeah.
And it was about the size of a nickel. I had a scab right in the middle of right here on the corner of my eyebrow on my forehead. And I assume it was a spider. I don't know what else would have made
Yeah, it probably was.
Because I lived out in the middle of nowhere.
The fucking bugs in South Carolina were...
Why I won't move south.
Oh, man, they were wild. And where we lived, there wasn't any grass. It was sand. And so it was scorpions and centipedes, gigantic centipedes. And yes, I was a child, so everything seemed gigantic to me. Like the spiders that were, like on the wall in our bedrooms, they seemed gigantic to me. But my mom has this story about a time that she tangled with a centipede in the kitchen. And the trailer we lived in was one of those like Airstream style bubble ones, it was like metal on the outside, pretty small. And so the kitchen, there wasn't a lot of room for her to maneuver. And she said she was in there fixing cornbread or something and heard it like skittering, because they're so big and they have those like hard shell carapace that when they get large enough on the linoleum, you can hear them like.
Oh.
And so she said she tried multiple ways to kill this fucking thing. First, she stomped on it. That didn't do it. And then she decided she didn't want to be near it anymore. She didn't want to get close enough to stomp on it. So then she went and got the dictionary, the heaviest book she could find, and clomped it down on it, pulled it up, and there it went skittering again. She said finally she just she put a pot on it upside down, on top of it, put the dictionary on top of that, and just waited for Dad to get home. I don't remember this at all. I don't know. We lived there when we were very little, up until I was 5, I think. Yeah, 5. So that was probably when we were still babies. But he was in the Army, so she was there alone with us all day. And she said the fucking monsters that would come in there.
One time, I was at Mom's house, and I had a cell phone plugged in, and the cord, it was one of the big box kind that you plug in with the 3 prongs. It's like old school.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a really long cord on it, so it was hanging down by the floor, and I didn't pay attention. And my dad had put out a glue trap for a mouse, and I didn't notice that there was a mouse in it. Mm-hmm. And then my cord got stuck in it. And so I went to yank it, and I ripped it, and up came this mouse in a hole, and it like wiggled on the thing. And my mom screamed like a little girl, like so loud. It was ear piercing. It was freaking hilarious. Oh, I still feel bad for that mouse. I don't advocate for glue traps. I think they're inhumane.
They are they're pretty diabolical. I mean, it can be really unsanitary and unhealthy to live with vermin, but there are perhaps less efficient, but also less diabolical ways to deal with them.
Yeah.
But they never did freak me out though, like mice and voles and all that stuff, like the 4-legged things. That's fine with me. I mean, I'd still try to get them out, but I never, and I had them all over at the place I lived down in Kentucky before I moved here. I never did shit about them. It's just kind of, I mean, the cats would catch them and stuff. Ziggy would catch them especially. She was a very efficient killer. And so after a while, they just didn't try to come in the house.
Nice.
But I tell you what, though, these boy cats are useless at catching vermin. They just watch her handle it.
Like the queen that she was, or is.
Yeah, right. I saw a video. Have you ever seen the videos of people like when snakes or frogs or something come up their toilet?
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Okay.
As Porkies, I've had a fear of a snake coming up through the toilet.
Yeah, well, it ain't gonna happen where you
remember
live.
that movie, Porkies?
Oh yeah. Plenty of traumatic shit from that movie. Not just that.
Yeah.
Somebody on YouTube, I think it was our friend Techno Pop Tart, said that something about, what was the name of the Don Knotts movie you were talking about? The Ghost.
The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Yeah. They said that they hadn't thought about that movie for a long time. Never heard of it.
It's a pretty good one. I liked it.
Maybe it's in the public domain. Let me check. Oh, it's not in the public domain.
Well, that's too bad.
Wow. How did they get a copyright this long? 100 years? Dang, Universal got some tricks.
I'm going to give Wynn to her CBD drops early tonight.
Poor baby.
Well, she started getting the days and nights mixed up a little bit, and she'll sleep all day and then want to be up half the night.
Oh, yeah. That is not...
Which does not work for me.
Right.
Because she'll get to where she doesn't want to be in bed, that she wants to be in the living room. It's like, girl, I got to be in bed. I got to work tomorrow,
Actually stayed up past 8 p.m. last night, but it's probably because I took a 3-hour nap in the middle of the day after my physical therapy.
I was up on the phone with Shanna till like 2 a.m. She worked the overnight. And once she gets her tasks done, she doesn't have much to do besides check on people, So I kept her company as long as I could.
I used to work third shift in the dorms. When I was an undergrad, I worked for housing, and I was the overnight person twice a week in 2 different dorms. It was, I'm not sure how to describe it. You kind of go a little crazy on a third shift in general, like every time, probably no matter what. But the way, like that time between when it's reasonable for people to be out and doing things and when it's reasonable for people to be getting back up and stuff, it's a very weird time.
Yeah.
And one of the buildings, it was called Walters Hall. It was on EKU's campus that has this really weird 1970s wood aesthetic. And so it kind of looks like a ski lodge. And so people started calling it the Bunny Lodge. And around 3, 4 a.m., it felt like a fucking horror movie. It felt like Jason was going to come out.
That's how Shannon, there's the house that she works in has big windows all around it. And so when you look out and there's nothing but like cornfields around it. So she gets really creeped out. And that's one of the, she's getting off night shift. She has 4 shifts left. And then she goes back to day. So she can't handle it. It's hard for her.
It wore me out. I mean, it like wore me down so bad that I got shingles in my ear.
Oh, well, bless your heart. And your ear.
It swelled up so big, it was like my hand, the size of my hand, and I couldn't lay down.
Oh.
It was crazy. But because I had to, when I would get off work, I would have to go to class and stuff. And I had roommates that partied all the time, so I just didn't get any sleep. And you're not allowed to sleep on third shift in the dorms.
That's how it is with Shanna's job. In her home, you can't sleep because she's got 6 residents in that building, and they have different needs throughout the night. So,
yeah. Well, back in the day, like we just did not have very good, there wasn't surveillance. Like the only way to know if everything was okay was for somebody to be awake and have their eyes on it. This episode features a lot of Wenda.
Yeah. She can be a lot sometimes when she's not getting her way. And she would like me to be petting on her more. So,
yeah. Well, maybe it's a good time to hear from this week's sponsor.
Okay, let's do it.
This week's sponsor is kind of a sponsor of the Wrestling Alliance, Gravel Grapple. It's Saturday night, the moon is high, the mason jars are getting kind of low. This episode is brought to you by the Gravel Grapple all-terrain wrestling mat. We may not need fancy Olympic gym with fluorescent lights and men in singlets that cost more than a used mower, but we do need a surface that can handle a power bomb and a spilled light beer without losing aura points. The Grapple Gravel is the world's first industrial-grade, reversible wrestling mat designed specifically for the backyard, the barn floor, and the special occasion rug in the parlor. Made from free-range, recycled ATV tire, it's tougher than a hog's hide and smells like a burnout. I know why you're thinking, why do we need a mat for our make-believe backyard wrestling alliance? Well, I'll tell you why it's better than a patch of grass. It has impact-absorbing foam, developed by engineers who clearly spent too much time in mosh pits. It's soft enough to save your tailbone, but firm enough to give you the leverage you need for a proper suplex. It has the Hickory Tough coating. Puncture resistant, go ahead, wear your work boots. It can handle a rogue spur, a dropped cigarette, or the sheer weight of your inherited emotional baggage. Easy clean technology. We call it the morning after finish. Whether it's sweat, glitter, or secret sauce from a late night drive-through run, it hones right off with a garden hose. It's 10 by 10 feet of pure, unadulterated find-out territory. So stop running your grandmother's quilts, and if you're trying to recreate 1980s classic ACW Hell in a Cell SmackDown, do it on a professional surface. Act now, use code CHAIRSHOT. We'll send you the mat, a roll of heavy-duty athletic tape, and a commemorative Rough Trade trophy.
Oh, that's fun.
We used to actually like take the furniture apart, get the cushions out, and put them out so that we could like do suplexes and cannonball and like fly into them and stuff. One of the many times I almost killed David and might have actually been trying to hurt him for real a little bit was that I convinced him to do this wrestling move and pulled the couch cushions off and laid them on. I was like, yeah, this will be plenty of padding. And I just like heaved off of the chair and like elbow right down into his spine. And I could feel it. Yeah, it's the only reason that we didn't all break every bone in our body multiple times is because we're fucking mutants. Because we tried so hard so many times.
My brother would do that shit in the pool. He would try to kill me in that pool. I swear to God.
Yeah, if we'd had a pool, one of us had been dead. Do you remember there was something that happened that used to happen like every time I would fall or something, like getting the breath knocked out of you, and you know that feeling like of your lungs, they get like squeezed shut and they won't open back up again.
Yeah.
Why does nobody prepare you for that? Why doesn't anybody warn you like, hey, sometimes one of these days you're gonna fall really hard and your lungs are gonna stop working and you're gonna think you're dying, but you're not? Because I really thought I was about to meet my maker the first time that happened to me. And you're always alone doing something away from, where a parent figure can see you. So if I had known that was normal.
Yeah, I fell a lot. I am not a graceful person in any measure. That's why I was a catcher when I played softball. You didn't have to be graceful. You just had to be like stout, like sturdy. Try and
Stout.
knock my ass over.
I never really I didn't play softball very much. I like did maybe a season or two of conditioning and practice, and I didn't hardly play. I thought it was too on the nose. I was like, it's not gay for all these other people to do it, but if I do it, it's gay. And I didn't
Right.
I just really was trying to hold on to nobody finding out.
I wasn't even out to myself in high school. Like I knew that I had a crush on a girl, I knew that, but I was still straight in my head. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
let myself go there. I didn't come out to myself until the summer after high school.
Yeah. I mean, I knew something was off and I knew that I should try to fix it. But for some reason, none of the other sports were gay. It was just softball.
Right?
I could play all the other sports and not have to feel that way. Even though basketball was raised issues for me because it was so intimate. It was intimate in a way that softball was not, like all that contact and the way the girls are in the locker room, like it's great. I'm so glad that people have spaces like that, and that I think that's what they're afraid of losing when they think about trans women coming into like sports and things. Having experienced those spaces, I can understand what they're afraid of losing, even though that's not how that works. But yeah, I didn't do basketball for more than just a couple of seasons past junior pro. I played every year in elementary and middle school, and then in high school it started to the intimacy and just like my attraction to a couple of the girls. I was just like, no, I'm gonna quit. I was so
Yeah.
scared of being exposed.
I never have played a full game of basketball in my life. So I don't know how I didn't get exposed to that, but I guess we just didn't play it in gym or whatever. We played volleyball. I was pretty good at serving, but I never got introduced to basketball. So who knows how I would have played.
We didn't play it in gym either that I remember. We did play volleyball though. Like if you wanted to play basketball, you had to either join the team or one of the intramural leagues, or play after school. And I was not very good at it. I'm still not very good at it. So
Yeah.
there was no reason for me to really stick it out. I wasn't getting much out of it. My favorite thing was academic team. I loved competition.
We called it Quiz Bowl.
Yeah, there was a TV show that we did in Louisville. I don't remember the name of it. They called it something else, kind of like that. But you like, it's probably the same. You play against other schools and you go to, tournaments and stuff.
Yep. I did mock trial too. Did you guys have mock trial?
Yep. There was one where they did a fake car accident for a DUI thing, some dare thing. And it was pretty horrifying. Like they turned cars over in the street right outside the high school, and there were kids like laying there with blood coming out of their mouth and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was. There was a couple of times when they really went for that scared straight thing.
They didn't do that at my high school, but my high school was across the street from a high security, maximum security prison. So
They figured they already had that covered. I remember
yeah.
going to an assembly at Jellicoe and sitting up in the bleachers, and they wheeled in a TV, like this, that, the TV on a cart, the standard that, that's so small, none of us could see it, but it was a dare movie about the evils of smoking marijuana cigarettes. And I just remember,
Oh no.
yeah, I remember I was like, I think it's too late, you guys. Even here is high right now. You should have started a lot younger. And they would bring their souped up like V12, like sheriff's cars that they bought with drug money, is what they would say, and show the kids like how cool their cars were. How you can't get away from us. We're going to catch you. Like, nobody thinks you're cool, man.
Yeah.
Some of these people are thinking about stealing your car.
One time when I was working as a wedding photographer, I got a real interesting couple. They were a lot of fun to work with. And they had their wedding out in the middle of this field. They set up chairs and everything and a little archway and all that kind of stuff. And the girl came in via carriage, a horse-drawn carriage. But before that happened, everybody was sitting there. It was time for it to start, and all of a sudden you heard a siren in the background. And then you saw like all the groomsmen were on four-wheelers and they came like roaring over the hill as fast as they could come. And one of their buddies was a state highway patrolman, and he was running just as hard as he could behind him, lights and sirens chasing him to the thing. And they came up and like they got off the four-wheelers and stood at the altar. It was really funny.
Yeah, that is redneck.
One of the pictures they had me do was they lined all the four-wheelers up in kind of like a V formation, and then had all the guys stand on theirs in their tuxes. And we took a picture of that, and it ended up in a magazine, a four-wheeling magazine. They were the only couple that wanted to do a set of their pictures in the outhouse that we had at the studio. They were a trip.
Wait, why did you have an outhouse?
We had a whole little backyard. There was a koi pond and a swing and just really pretty background areas to take photography, like do senior pictures.
Oh, it was just like setting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll have to show you the picture. I did a beautiful shot of my nephew in front of the outhouse. He's in his underwear. He was like 2, and he's looking back and he's smiling real big. Like we printed it as a 16 by 20, and it was in the bathroom at the studio for like 10 years.
Oh,
My mom, half of my sister must have stolen that. Who knows? This week's Noun of Appalachian Interest is Camden Park. If you grew up anywhere near Huntington, West Virginia, you can probably smell it in your memory. Popcorn, hot pavement, the Ohio River air, and sunscreen that's been baking since well before noon. Camden Park isn't some mega theme park with fireworks every hour. It's been sitting right there since 1903 doing its thing. It started as a trolley park back when streetcars were how folks got around, and companies would build parks at the end of the line so families would ride out on the weekends. You'd take the trolley, spend the day eating, laughing, and maybe screaming on a ride, then head home tired and happy. It was a practical and a little bit of genius. And then there's the Big Dipper, built in 1958, a wooden roller coaster that does not glide, it rattles. It creaks. It sounds like it's telling you stories from 60 years ago while it climbs that first hill. It's not smooth and it's not fancy, but when you first hit that drop, you feel it in your bones. There's something honest about a wooden coaster, no tricks, no timber, gravity, and commitment. Camden Park feels Appalachian because it has never once tried to act brand new. The rides aren't retro, they're just still here. The Big Dipper sounds like it's clearing its throat before every drop. The arcade lights are so bright you can see them through your eyelids. And the funnel cake grease, it doesn't linger. It settles in like a distant cousin who said they were staying one night. It's been through floods, layoffs, economic slumps, and every "this town ain't what it used to be" conversation at the diner. And every spring, somebody unlocks the gate, flips the switch, and lets the tilt-a-whirl start spinning like nothing ever happened. For a lot of folks, it's first date nervousness and first roller coaster bravery. It's paper wristbands that itch, it's tilt-a-whirl spinning a little faster than you expected. It's summer nights when the sky turns purple and the cicadas get loud and the whole place glows. And here's the wild part. Camden Park even made it into Fallout 76. In the game, it's reimagined in a post-apocalyptic version of West Virginia, still standing in its own weird way after the world ends. Of all the places they could have chosen, they picked that little amusement park by the river. And honestly, that tracks. If anything in Appalachia could outlast the apocalypse, it might be a wooden roller coaster and a stubborn gate operator. Camden Park isn't polished, it isn't curated, it's not trying to impress anybody. That's this week's Noun of Appalachian Interest. Camden Park ain't perfect, but it's ours, and it's still open.
I don't play games or anything, but Fallout 76, I don't know why, but it's a post-apocalyptic West Virginia, and so it has all of this Appalachian lore in it. And it's like as soon as I found that out, I wanted to play it, but I'm just fucking awful at new video games.
Yeah.
I don't have that so like for instance, it'll be like press triangle to do something, and I have to look and see where triangle is. And that is so disheartening. I'm like, I don't know which of these is which.
Yeah, we have a Switch that's about as fancy as we get for Mario Kart. I own Mario Kart and Donkey Kong.
I have a PlayStation 3. Don't use it really for anything.
I just think it's cool that Camden Park ended up there. I've got a picture of me riding a little ride when I was still in pigtails, in blonde pigtails. If I can find it this week, I'll share it in the newsletter. And that's where I met Vince Gill, the singer. It was my mom's like favorite singer. It was before he got super famous. He had his first song out, and he was doing the tour, and he ended up performing at Camden Park, and we went. And he was sitting in the little food, like the food hall, and I went and asked for his autograph and got like 3 of them from him. That's my claim to fame, that I met Vince Gill.
Who all have you gotten autographs from?
That's pretty much it, Vince Gill.
Yeah.
I have a friend that goes to a lot of like movie, like those sign and greet things. And she has a picture of herself with like so many famous people that it's crazy. But I don't know. I just never had the money or the interest to do that.
The lines can be really long. The line for John Waters was hours.
Oh, I bet. He performed it at BGSU. Did you get to go to that?
That's where it was. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. I went to the show.
Yeah. And so like first it's the show and then it's the line, and the line is hours long. It's easier when you just run into a celebrity randomly, but that doesn't really happen that much.
It's the only time it ever happened to me. That's for sure. My mom knew Alan Jackson, the way down yonder on the chat. Yeah. He stayed at the Ramada Inn where my mom was a waitress. That's where my mom was a waitress when she and my dad met. And she said he was a real asshole too.
Oh, well, I'm sure a lot of famous people are. Probably way more back in the day.
Yeah.
A lot of famous people would stop in if they were on the road into the Pizza Hut that I worked at, because it was right there off of the interstate off of I-75. And I think that they would choose like these smaller areas, maybe kind of thinking they can fly under their radar a little bit. But for a while there, Mom worked at the same Pizza Hut as me. And we were both servers, and we were on shift one day, and she comes over, and she had been, waiting on a table, and it was all people. They looked very cool. I didn't really pay very close attention to them because they were in her section, but she came over and she goes, well, that young man over there says he plays guitar too, because I play guitar, and I'm sure she was over there like, my daughter plays guitar too. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. And I was like, how did that come up? And she was like, well, he's wearing a little pin on his shirt. And so I asked him about it. And I looked up and I was like, and I like squinted and I was like, that's the Goo Goo Dolls.
Like a Scooby-Doo moment.
It was so random.
They were my first big concert.
I was actually jamming out to Iris the other day. In Corbin, I saw celebrities all over like not, like minor celebrities. So like Leanne Rimes stole gas from me one day. The Speedway in Corbin, because she got recognized halfway through filling up and just tore out. And then you remember Tiffany from the 80's?
Oh yeah, I think we're alone now.
Yeah, her.
It doesn't seem to be anyone around.
So me and my friends, the TJs, I had these 2 friends, both named TJ, that I hung out with in Corbin all the time in like early mid 2000s. And we were in the Tri-County Shopping Center after seeing a movie and just kind of hanging around the parking lot there, which we did a lot. And this big tour bus pulls up and a guy comes out and he's like, do you guys know where we can get any weed? I guess we just look like we would know. And he just like stepped off of the, the door of the bus kind of halfway. He didn't really, he wasn't trying to make friends or anything, but we were like, no, even though almost certainly one of them would have yes, but we were like, no, why would we do that? And he goes, do you guys know Tiffany from the 80's? That's how he described her. And I was like, she can probably hear you.
That reminds me of the name game.
What's
my
the
roommate
name
and I
game?
in college? We played we were ruthless name game players. So name a celebrity, any celebrity.
Kira Sedgwick.
Okay, so her last name starts with an S. So now I got to say somebody's name that starts with an S. So I would say Sarah Silverman. Ooh, I got a double, so it doubles back to me. So then I say Sharon Osbourne. So now you have to come up with one that starts with an O.
Okay, first name or last name?
But the first name. But if you do both of them, you get a double and you get to go again.
Oh, okay. Well, Orville Peck.
Okay, and then I would say Pauly Shore.
Okay, this could go on a long time.
Yeah, so we played. It got to where she would be like Job From the Bible.
It's that J, F, or B.
God, we would leave notes for each other and everything. We play that ruthlessly.
There was all kinds of games like that we used to play back in the day. We played Little People, Big People, which I don't even know where it came from, but somebody would start it and you would say like, little people like trees but not bushes. And you would only do that shit. And you couldn't give any clues over and over again. You would just, more and more examples until the person or somebody figured it out. And it was brutal because it's actually kind of hard to spot the pattern. But once you know, it's ridiculously simple. And so there'd always be like one person steaming mad because they couldn't figure it out long after everybody else has figured it out.
Did you ever play the drinking game, Captain Duff? So my dad, my adopted father, was kind of a genius at this. And basically he tells a story and you put your hands on the table and if he changes his hand, you have to change it or you have to drink, right? And like he got both of my aunts shit faced at a party they had one time. I wonder if that's a real thing or if he made it up.
Listeners, what kind of games did you play before there was the internet? Did you play word games or puzzles with people?
I don't see anything about it. That could just be a thing that they made up. Like the Christmas gift thing. Have I told you about Christmas gift? I probably have now.
Yeah. People used to have to make their own fun.
My dad built a still for his his senior year high school science project.
I built a bomb by accident.
Oops. It was just a little bomb.
Chemical bomb, man. And they let me do the experiment, even though, like, thinking back now, I'm like, oh my God, I built a bomb because I had Drano and aluminum foil, and I don't even remember the other components, and I probably would bleep them out if I could. Baking soda was one of them, and you mix them together in this certain way in proportions in a plastic bottle, and it explodes.
For one of mine, I took a little copper pipe. And I took 2 blocks of wood and I put a copper pipe on like sitting on the 2 of them. And then under it, I put a candle. And then under one end of the pipe, I put a needle with a straw on it. And if you light the candle and let it heat up the copper pipe, it will expand and cause the straw to roll. And that was one of my experiments. That's the one. And then I did another one where if you put a playing card on top of a cup of water, the water will stay in. It'll create a seal and it won't come out.
I actually only remember the one. Maybe I was banned from others. That's the only time I ever remember participating in a science fair.
What word got you out in the spelling bee?
Careen.
Ooh, that's a bad one. Mine was dynamite.
Yeah, and I was at the state championship.
Oh.
Yeah, and we were down to like just the last few. But I was in the 8th grade and I'd never heard that word before, so I butchered it. I think I started it with a K.
Got ya.
I used to love a spelling bee.
I was grading exams this week, and I was writing some feedback like you do, and I had to stop and like Google words like 3 different times to make sure I was spelling them correctly because I have just forgotten. I just like autocorrect fix shit now, If you get close enough, it's fine, but you can't do that when you're writing.
Yeah, I have stuck. I do write longhand a lot. It's one of my favorite ways to write, and I keep notebooks and stuff all the time. But I never have been super great at spelling when it comes to writing, just because, and it has gotten worse as I've gotten older. I write out of order. I'll start a word with the first letter sometimes, and then maybe I'll write the second one and then skip to the 4th one and then come back and fill in the 3rd one. I have no idea who even learns to write that way. But I draw a lot of my letters backwards. I draw numbers backwards. I always drew E's and the number 5 backwards.
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I can write with my left hand, but they had me write with my right hand. So actually my writing is better with my left hand, but it's a lot slower. But to fix the problem, I kind of had to go in my mind and go like, okay, I have to write it backwards. Like what feels backwards to me. So I draw my 5s. I start at the bottom and go up like this and then do the top.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
My mom always made her check marks backwards because she was left-handed.
But she wrote with her right hand or she wrote with her left hand?
No, she wrote with her left. she was left-handed, and one of my nieces and one of my nephews are left-handed.
Everything I do, I can do with either hand, but like I've practiced more with the right hand, so it's a lot faster. But my God, you can't read a thing I write with my right hand unless I really make an effort. But yeah, I don't know. It's maybe it's not dyslexia. Maybe it's just that I'm not writing with my dominant hand.
Might just be ADHD too.
Well, I guess we ought to get off of here. Let you entertain Winda.
Yeah, figure out what her problem is. The drops aren't even helping right now. So, and she's eaten several times today, so I know she's not starving. Sometimes she acts like this because we usually feed her between 8 and 8:30 dinner, and so she lets me know when it starts getting that time. But she's been doing this since 6:30, so
Yeah.
I don't think that's it at all. I don't know.
Hopefully she's okay.
Yeah, she'll be fine. She's a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the doctor gave her a good bill of health. He said she sounded great to be 15. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, listeners, thanks for hanging out another week. Let us know if you played weird word games when you were a kid and whatever else we talked about this episode. I don't remember.
Have you got birthday weapons?
Yeah, did you get birthday whoopings? Because maybe that's what's wrong with us.
Yeah.
Be good and stay out of trouble. Drink your water, wear sunscreen, say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.